Nice.
Yeah.
Well, hello, Catherine.
Hi.
Are you ready to chat about something?
Yeah, I
Okay.
am.
I'm gonna get us a topic, and I'm gonna push the button. Yeah. Listen, I feel like if we could ever like get like in the future like a spinning wheel with
Yeah.
like a screen, or like that would be like again if we ever had a budget other than just like a
Or
random one song.
could you screen record the button being pressed
That's a
and
lot of
show?
effort for
Oh no, yeah, no.
yeah, especially
It's fine then.
for
And
an audio.
making a huge spinning wheel isn't.
Well, what? Yeah, okay. All right, don't sass me.
No,
But
I'm in a
also,
sassy
like,
mood today.
no,
What
yeah.
can I say?
I guess the other thing is like this is an audio, you know, format. Podcasts typically audio, so anything we put into like recording video screens or getting a giant physical wheel, people probably aren't gonna maybe see.
No.
So it's probably not worth it. But I do have
No.
the question. Are you ready?
Cool. I'm ready.
Okay. What does your own personal hell look like? And then how about your own
Whoa.
personal heaven?
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's a doozy, isn't it?
I'm guessing for right now, because for me, like my personal heaven years ago would probably be fairly hellish to me
Okay.
now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess right now. Yeah. And we're not expecting any sort of like seers or ability to see into the future to predict what happens when you might die. Let's say for all intensive purposes, Catherine, we've both just died.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. And
cool.
they're giving us the tour of the options. Because we get.
Did you ever watch The Good Place?
I did watch The Good Place, yeah.
And how like they all had their own little house, and it was like perfectly tailored to them
in their own sort of way. So okay, so what are we starting with heaven or hell? Where are we going?
Let's start heaven. Let's start with the positive. What would yours look like? What if you imagine you're Eleanor Shellstrop in this situation?
You know what? The Good Place actually is like a good thing to kind of touch upon, is because the fact that like, the concept of eternity, I don't like.
Oh, really?
I don't like that, and I'm sure this is even kind of like touch upon on the show, the fact that like you can have a good thing, but reach a point, it's just like it doesn't have the you're just ready.
And the idea of immortality.
Yeah, I think
that's overwhelming.
I think that sucks.
In what way?
Immortality and just living forever. So the way I phrase it in the most positive sense is the fact that there is certain reassurances in things ending. like it's nice to have like a finality, and that shouldn't be looked at like in the sense of like a negative sense of like, I'm gonna die one day, or what have you. It should be the case of like, well, I am gonna die one day, so I should just enjoy the finite time I have.
Yeah.
If for whatever reason I didn't have finite time and I had infinite time, what the fuck do I do? That's what I think with the heaven and stuff. I was like, you could like, I struggle to see a heaven in which like in the short term it's enjoyable, but there's always going to be a point where no matter how good it is, it's going to be like, this is just not it anymore.
Oh, I see. Yes, I'm with you now, because originally I was thinking more about like, are you kind of alluding to The Good Place just being like a not
no so like I think it's more the case of like,
you're thinking about towards the end of the season when they were like
we out
big
so I think it's in that sense of like, it's weird to say that like my own personal heaven as good. Okay, so I'm kind of avoiding the question in a weird way, but it's like my personal heaven would have an exit.
That's fair.
But in terms of what's actually in it, I don't know. I think like I
would you have a little clown house? Like,
I don't have a little clown. God, no clowns, no people, no Chicken Little people outfits.
Oh, Chicken Little! I love that story.
But no, I don't know. There's something about like the kind of like there's you see all those people who live in like those really kind of modern-esque cabins where it's like it's a cabin in the middle of nowhere or like some misty mountains and stuff like that, and they just have these huge windows and stuff like that. I like stuff like that, but I don't know if that necessarily is a heaven. I like
that's just a dream house, isn't it?
That's what I mean. Like, is a heaven just a case where those kind of dreams get to be realized? At which point, I get to have like a little writer's retreat. That'd be nice. But even saying that, there's parts of writing I don't like. Maybe, okay, here's the thing. So maybe in this heaven, it's that case where finally, when you're writing, when you're drawing, you have that image in your mind that translates perfectly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That would be cool, because I'm tired of thinking, it would be really cool to draw a unicorn, and then it's just like a stick horse.
Yeah. The brainchild and the actuality doesn't quite.
Yeah, I think like having that to be like a 1-to-1, I think would be very sort of like fulfilling, and just being the ability to like, all the projects I wanted to do, I could like realize. I don't know. What about you?
Well, I'm kind of with you, because I was thinking then about how if I take any of my favorite things, there is too much. Like, let's take food. Favorite chocolate. Yeah. Great, love it. Too much chocolate, I'm going to be sick.
I think
it's going to make me ill.
It's like that thing of like, like if you whatever your hobby is at the time becomes your identity.
Yeah.
And it's like
yeah. And on top of that, like if I take like an album that I'm listening to, I'll go through stages where I'll listen to it, and then it almost gets to a point where I'm like, I've overdone it.
Yeah.
And now I'm starting to dislike it, so I need to listen to something completely different. So that idea of something being permanent and always having to do that same thing, I couldn't even pick out writing, for example. Like you've just said that writing would be like a lovely thing to do. I couldn't even do that, because I don't know what I want to do for a long period of time.
Yeah. Also, like, I guess it's that weird thing of like, okay, well, how does heaven? Oh, so it's like the time work. Because okay, well, let's say, Catherine, you're a big Enter Shakira fan.
Love Enter Shakira.
Would you just like? I really fancy a new Enter Shakira album, and would you one just apparate?
I mean, but then, yeah.
But that's what I mean. Is like, because surely you could in heaven. It's heaven. Yeah.
But is it them? Would it be their album? Because
no, because I guess it would be that case of like it would be
thought child of what I thought that
it would be a satisfying album for what you think their next album should be.
Yeah,
it's the idea of like everything you do would be through a lens in which would be the most enjoyable
it's fascinating
for you
as well. But I think for me, I don't know what I want. And sometimes the things that I want are not the things that I actually thought I wanted.
Yeah.
So if it was up to my own brain to decide what is in my personal heaven, I'm screwed, because I don't know what that surprised me.
Yes.
Don't surprise me in a bad way. Surprise me in a way that I'm.
I like the idea of like, you wake up every day and it's like a selected itinerary of like, oh, here's something, and you're like, no.
I suppose my personal heaven is new things to do without the disappointment.
So you get to try new things, and everything you try is enjoyable
to me. Yeah. And I think that will be but even then, and even like what I suppose I would like, actually, even more than that, is that actually take away the free will or the choice aspect. So actually everything that I do, I enjoy regardless. So even the stuff in theory that I wouldn't like doing, but when I actually do it, I'm like, oh, this is nice, because there's no consequence.
It sounds like that sounds like hell, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, but then that allows for things to be infinite, because then I can go, right, okay, I'm going to try a bit of this, I'm going to try a bit of that.
But then, so like but the way I see that turning, it's almost like turning it into like a production line. Of like, they could sit you down and you could physically be on a production line of just popping heads on Barbie dolls, and you'd be like, this is fucking great. Oh my god, that part where Oh, nice.
So satisfying. So satisfying. But even like, if it was like just a case of an infinite world in which I am entertained by things that I did not know would entertain me.
Yeah. I don't know. So this is why I go back to the thing of like the idea of that. Like, it's weird that it's almost harder to come up with a heaven than it is like a hell.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It's like, but the fact that like take a world like, yeah. I so the way you phrased it on second is yeah. I can sort of see that as appealing. But yeah, I don't know. I guess in my head, I struggle to justify an existence of just.
Yeah. But I think that like that would be the only way that it would actually work, because otherwise you're in a situation where you are like I said earlier, like the fact that like my heaven years ago is not my heaven now.
What do you think of something like what was it? Forget what's the 51st dates?
Oh yeah.
Where you have the best day of your life on repeat.
Over and over and again. No.
But even if you didn't know it was the best day on repeat.
No. Do you not want?
No.
Yeah. I would rather be.
So you want, again, so you clearly
aware.
You want to be aware of a kind of like, yeah.
Yeah. I think ignorance in that situation can be quite scary. I don't know. I think you spend your whole life trying to gain knowledge. Yeah. And the fact that your afterlife could be just stagnant like that, like that's
I like the idea of like in the sort of heaven the any sort of, I guess, like physical limit, like the fact that like I forget stuff just doesn't exist.
Yeah,
like the ability to
all the knowledge, just
it just goes in, and I have space for all of it. My head doesn't get really big; it just stays a normal size.
Not a mega mind situation.
Not a mega mind. Just it has all the information neatly packed away.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then obviously, you go into the things of like, obviously you could have like other people around, and that could be like whoever you want it to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, the company side of things, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah. I guess
but then that's the other thing, because like obviously their idea of heaven.
Yeah, I think that's where it gets
fit
weird
in with yours. So how do you do that unless they are memorialized or like but then that's the case. I don't want them. Like I don't want like a caricature that I've made up. Like, I mean, do you believe in heaven and hell?
Not really.
No, I don't either.
It's nice.
It's a lovely idea.
It's lovely, isn't it? Yeah, but yeah. That's another thing that kind of throws things for a loop, is like once other people are in the mix. And I think, you're right. You would always, deep down, you would want the authentic other person.
Yeah. Like, give me all their flaws, like, because that's what made me like them. Like,
but then is it the case? Yeah. Like, so for the two of you to hang out, I don't know, because it doesn't seem like it's such a bad thing. Like for the two of you to, like, two people to hang out and stuff like, one of them is going to potentially have to give up, like what their ideal happiness is for. In this, I don't know, unless it aligns.
Well, that's how relationships work, isn't it? It's a bit of give and take, like, and that's why we have the friends, the relationships that we do, is because we do that sort of like I'm going to do this because this is something that you would enjoy, and yada yada yada. But
see, I think what is harmful about any sort of depiction of heaven is the fact that everything is perfect, and I think that would drive me. That's not my interpretation of it. I think, because again, I think you need the flaws and the I think the good analogy is like, the ebbs and flows of kind of emotion make the highs higher and the lows lower.
100%. And let's face it, if life was completely free of all, and this is something going back to my RE, if there was a world where there is no evil, no suffering, it's a wonderful thing in theory, but then what would motivate people to do good? Because then the people in heaven, in this situation where things are perpetually perfect, there is no incentive for right or wrong. There is no there's no consequence for wrong behavior. The idea is that if you're in heaven, that you've done nothing wrong, but that's bullschlacker.
Yeah, I'm thinking, because like, what if, like, again, your idea of like you're like you make your life all about helping people in like need, and then when you get to heaven, what you love most is that feeling of helping people. Is heaven going to provide like people in need for you to help? Is like,
that's messed up.
We've created these aren't real people. These are just, again, these are essentially robots who suffer. They're really suffering, these robots. But you can help them endlessly. But don't worry, their pain isn't real.
It's all an illusion.
Yeah, your happiness is real though. So to help these, that's fun. See, that's what I mean. It's like, and then
it's a scary thing, because, like, again, applying it to the world, there are a lot of theodicies and that we teach that actually a lot of the issues that people have with them is, well, if there is this almighty being that's created this world, did he purposely put suffering and things like that in there? Did he purposely corrupt the world in order for people to have the opportunity to grow, to improve? That it's called the soul making theory. Are they improving themselves, or is it more the case that perhaps, like, there's the other theory that maybe it's humans, we are the ones that screw it all up, and that, and in that case, why would heaven be any different? Because if you've got a lot of people going to heaven who are assumedly good people, they're not good all the time. Like, no, of course they're not. Like,
yeah, I think I remember hearing like one of the like things about it, which is like, if God is all powerful, that means he has the means to stop all evil.
Omnipotent.
But chooses not to. Or it's either the fact that God isn't all powerful, so they I don't want to assume God's gender.
It's been done for thousands of years.
That's why but it could be the case where, like, if God isn't all powerful, and that's why they haven't stopped evil as a whole. That kind of argument is quite like fascinating. The fact that, like, which is worse is the fact that, like,
well, it's the three qualities: so omnipotence, omniscience, and omnibenevolence. So either
omnipotence, all powerful; omniscience is all knowing, and then
all loving. Benevolence is all loving. So either, if we take away, so let's say he's omnipotent and he's omniscient, so he's powerful and he knows.
That he can't love.
But there's suffering in the world. So if he's powerful enough to stop it and he knows about it but hasn't, then he can't be omnibenevolent. He doesn't care. That's the consequence of that. Or he cares, he's omnibenevolent, and he knows about it, but he's not powerful enough to stop it. So that's again another idea. Or perhaps he's loving and he's powerful, but he doesn't know it's happening. So those are the three sort of theories that can only justify a God that has those three qualities. If you say that a God doesn't have those qualities, you bypass the problem. But if you're saying that he has all three, suffering shouldn't exist.
God damn.
Yeah, no.
But as a bloody good segue,
go for
suffering does exist in hell.
Hell yeah.
Hell no, Catherine.
Hell no. Oh no.
And I guess, okay, so my personal hell, again, I think it's hard to get over the... What's that?
Sorry, carry on. Sorry.
I think it goes back to the idea of, like, okay, well, I think we've determined that it's indefinite in length. That sounds pretty bad. It's hard to get over, like, my mind just goes straight to, like, the idea of, like, I mean, pain stuff. Being stabbed for all eternity. I don't see any way in which that wouldn't be my own personal hell. You know.
Well, I was reading Stephen Fry's God, I can't remember which one it was. But it had the story of Prometheus.
Oh, was it Mythos?
Might have been Mythos. Yeah. Or it might have been it would be Mythos and not Heroes, wouldn't it? So when I was reading that, like, Prometheus, that's pretty hellish. He's still there now.
Which Prometheus is not the you're gonna have to remind me again. What?
So he is the one that basically in Zeus's eyes, lied to him and said that he wasn't going to educate the humans. I might be blurring these stories.
No, yeah, because he basically created them and then he gave them essentially life.
Yeah. And Zeus was threatened and angry about this and said, like, yeah. And basically he was tied and chained to this stone.
And has vultures pluck out his innards. Yeah.
Yeah. And like for eternity.
Yeah.
Like just perpetual that. But then there was another story. I don't remember who this was.
Was it Sisyphus and the boulder?
Yeah, the boulder. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yes, so again, Sisyphus is also,
I mean, I hate exercise, so the idea of
here's
that, okay, think about that burn, that horrible burn.
I can definitely understand why the idea of trying something in vain for all eternity would suck. Yeah. But then I don't think it sucks as much as having your organs out endlessly.
No,
I don't like. I don't know. I think that's it's hard for me to like contrive of some like type of suffering for me that doesn't involve being hurt.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And do you know what's interesting so far? Actually, if you think about our ideas of heaven and our ideas of hell, they're actually assuming that we have some kind of corporal element to us, that we still have a body to suffer, or still have a body to enjoy these sort of like pleasures of life. Like, so if there was a heaven or hell that doesn't involve a body, what would that look like if you had no body to feel pain?
Yeah. Well, again, it
would that be different for you?
I think I don't think it fundamentally matters whether you have a body or not. I think it's just because that's our only kind of frame of reference for how we kind of interact with things. If I was just I don't know, like my soul or spirit, like they could still connect a car battery. Like they have the power to connect a car battery to my soul and go at it like that. Yeah, I don't know.
Because that causes problems as well. Because the relationship between the mind and the body has stumped philosophers for years. So that idea of how connected are they?
Yeah.
And could you? Because when lots of people talk about the idea of the soul, what they're also talking about is the brain and how the brain is connecting and responding to things. So even that idea that your thoughts can experience pain through what would potentially, if I pinch myself, that's the synapse going straight up there and going so
I mean, like on like a low tier level, like when you try to go to sleep and you can't sleep because you just like get those like I was a fucking idiot 3 years ago.
Oh, what's the one for you? And I'll tell you my one.
Oh geez, I'm trying to think. I think most of them. Okay, so I most of them are just like jokes that didn't land as well as I thought they would. It's like, oh no, it's a doozy. No, again, nothing in kind of particular. But again, so and just because I haven't really delivered one, you don't have to tell your one unless you don't want to.
Oh no, I'll tell it because I think it's a great story. Like I can laugh about it, but at the same time, it keeps me up. It keeps me up at night. I must have been about year 8, year 9 PE lesson, and those are traumatic. Like there is nothing about a PE lesson that isn't traumatic. But there were trampolines, like, and I was like, yay, this is gonna be fun. I'm not, this is great. So I'm bouncing on the trampoline, and we have got like 4 trampolines in the hall.
Yeah.
So there's 4 people on the trampoline. Everyone else is just waiting around because it's, let's face it, it's one of those PE lessons that if you're not on the trampoline, you're like, this is a great lesson. I could just chat. Like, brilliant. I'm on the end one, and I'm just jumping up and down, and then they're like, right, okay, now we need you to do the thing where you go like flat, like looking down, and like do a bounce and then stand back up again, which is like I was like, I can do that.
That's a trampoline move.
So I jump, I'm up, I start to turn, I'm thinking this is going well.
Which is the first sign that it's not going well.
But something happens, like I'm thinking this is fine. My body is having a complete freak out. Like I am in no control over my limbs, and I am going towards this trampoline like this, and my legs are going as well. Like I am literally like that, bounce. And obviously, because I'm flailing, that kind of sends me off on an angle, and like it was awful. And like all the popular girls were all like around, going, "Oh, Katherine, that was really funny. You're so funny. You're so funny." And I'm like, I'm mortified.
Wait, did you fall off the trampoline then? Or?
No, just landed on the bit on the side. But the flailing, they they were all like, what was that about? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know. And sometimes when I sleep, that's all I can think about is the fact that I had no control over my body in that moment. And the fear and getting off, and everyone's saying, Katherine, you're so funny, you're so funny. And I'm like, let me get in a hole. Please die. Please. Like, and then the teacher was like, Katherine, it's your turn to go on the trampoline again later at that lesson. I did not want to go. Like, I was like, please don't make me. And all my friends were laughing, and like it's not they're not laughing with me at that point. They're laughing at me. Like there's nothing to laugh because I'm not laughing. I'm mortified.
So I think again, so I feel like literally
that moment is my personal hell. Like just that. Living
in like a perpetual state of just like, because I feel like that's like the most
embarrassment is the worst.
If you're like a devil and you want to be like the most cost-effective way to torture someone, it's just showing them their own memories. Like that you don't have to bring in buy some special like hot knives. You don't need to buy like the special like foot flayer, or
just roll out a movie that's just like interaction that they've ever had.
Yeah. I think that would pretty much suck.
I'm surprised you didn't say your bike situation.
What, me just flipping over my handlebars?
Yeah, like
it's not that bad. Like
you had an audience, didn't you?
Not too much of one.
Oh,
but then it's that case of where I don't. Again, I guess I don't conflate that as just being my fault. It's just,
that's true.
Just as I was on a bike.
Sorry, I'm always trying to add to your insecurities. Aren't you embarrassed?
Yeah, your bike baby. Oh, you're gonna cry, little bike baby. Oh,
you can't ride a bike at 20. Yeah. How old are you at the time? 25.
You're close enough.
Sorry.
Little bike bitch.
little bike boy.
No, I'm very proficient at riding a bike. Thank you very much. I've just chose not to since the accident. Okay. No, but that's what I mean. It's like I think that summarizes as well though. I mean, like, is there anything particular about like hell that you think we've kind of missed? I think it's just perpetual discomfort.
And that's on a personal level, but also there is uncomfort that comes from other people, and I wouldn't cope with that particularly well. Like if it was a situation, so for example, putting me in a situation where I am the center of attention.
No,
don't do that. Like don't do that. Like
the words.
Don't do that. Like, just don't do that to me.
I do like the idea that this is like a giant red devil demon going like, and you're like, no, don't do that.
Oh, I've got another story. So perfect example of this, when I played the clarinet. And do you remember, like, because this was a show, my reed squeaked.
I don't remember your read.
And like,
but that's another thing. It's a case of like where the reason why they're kind of so traumatizing is because like you remember them because you're like, again, you're the main character of these experiences and stuff. Most people just
no. But honestly, I could not like and it was all eyes on me, and everyone was sort of like, and I was like, like. Don't look at me ever again.
I feel like we've really unpicked a lot about some of your childhood and things traumas. I think this has been a kind of insightful kind of exercise conversation.
But have you not got any situations like that you were like, oh yeah, no, actually the other people in that situation was hellish right then, and I never again?
I remember once I was giving a presentation. We had to give a presentation in school, and it was like year 8, I think.
Yeah.
And I gave a presentation about how me and a friend were big fan of ducks.
Oh.
And I think that's it's got big cringe potential. And I do cringe. I do, but unfortunately it was not me making a to the same scale of making a buffoon of myself.
But that's the thing. School is full of moments that could quite happily be replicated in a hell-like situation, because and as a teacher I know I put children in positions where they were having to present, and then they were like, please don't make me do this. But actually there is a skill to it. I don't agree with teachers that mark people based on their presentation skills, because I do think although it's something that people sometimes can't avoid in life, I don't think it's fair to then go, well, you've got to do that again because you weren't good enough at doing it. There are people who were just like us, like that were complete introverts and were just literally trying to survive that moment without having a panic attack.
which is fair. I think maybe hell is just one big school.
I think
no, I mean so I guess any kind of like any closing remarks about either heaven or hell, Catherine, that we haven't?
Well, I don't believe in either. I think the heavens and hells are what we live through in daily life. So that's very profound. I know, like, put that on a book and quote me with it. Like, but
Katherine Whitby, 2012. You're in hell now, bitch. Welcome to hell.
Like,
is that the message? That's what we're going to
But that's the thing. Like, when people, I also think that people choose sometimes their own mental state and their own sort of way that they reflect on things. And then obviously there are some things, and I'm not saying all situations here at all, but there are some things that people don't have there's inevitable suffering. There's also suffering that we choose, and sometimes there's a fly right in front of my face. But hell knows, it's still little minions to come like, oh,
send in the flies. Power on through, Kevin. You do this.
What was my point? No, so the hell and heavens that we choose are how we decide to view things. Like, we can either look at a situation as like a concerning or worrying thing, or we can see it as an opportunity. So that would be my profound ending to.
Wow.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, my profound ending would be I want it to end.
Make it stop.
Make it stop. No. I feel like we've definitely painted both in again, despite being non-believers in the concept of heaven or hell. I think we've navigated it well and kind of viewed it as like
but also, I mean, we haven't even touched upon we've looked at quite I suppose a Christian perspective of hell there. But there are even then that is a very loosely based idea of what Christian heaven and hell would be like. But other cultures have got many complicated theories about how heaven and hell lives.
Okay, so I think if I were to do anything like the idea of like a personal heaven or hell, the middle ground would be like reincarnation's pretty cool. The idea of just like a do-over.
See, I hate that.
Okay, fair. I think, is it the case we just want it to end?
I mean, like, it's I think it's more the idea that I don't like about reincarnation is that idea that if someone is born into a situation where they are suffering really badly, it's your own goddamn fault, because your previous life you were a shitbag. I don't like that. That as an idea I don't particularly like. I'd like this idea of, I suppose it's more maybe a Buddhist conception, which is like that idea that karma is like gravity. It just affects everyone. Some people and some places it affects them more than others. Like, it's just random in that perspective. And that's not all Buddhist beliefs there, but that's
I think again, this is the point where you're doing a really good job of like trying to show the nuance, but there's even more nuances with the
teacher hat goes on, and but it's a complicated idea, but like,
okay, well,
how amazing though that people have come up with this thing.
Yeah, it just at the end of the day,
there is no evidence of.
It just helps.
We have such complicated law about it.
I like calling it law. It just helps, whatever helps people get through the day. And I think that's kind of. I think we've decided that, you know, when we die, we're just like, nah, thanks. To both heaven and hell, we're just like, no, thank you. I want worms.
I like the idea of haunting people. That sounds fun.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
But only for a short period of time, like
just on the weekends only.
Yeah, just like a light terrorizing of other people.
No, maybe I imagine you kind of want to be like poltergeisty, where it's just like, ooh, floating cup. Oh, you've seen my, reflection in the mirror, and then I'm gone.
Or like because I'm watching this new season of BuzzFeed Unsolved on YouTube at the moment, and they're good. And one of the things was like can be like these horrible smells, and I like the idea of like just a ghost being like
just being a smelly ghost.
Little ghost.
No, I don't. Here's the thing: I'm worried about being smelly in real life. I don't want my afterlife to be smelly as well. Like, have you found out about the little fart ghost yet?
You haven't got a nose, like you can't. So you can just literally just be like little tooty ghost. Well, that would be me. I would just follow.
Okay, I think that's
choose someone I dislike, or not, maybe even a friend, and just play pranks on them and just like go around, and they'll be like, "That Catherine again." I'm like,
I think honestly, I think that's probably the perfect note to end on, is you being a funny ghost.
Yeah.
It's a little toot ghost. But there you go. Thank you. I was supposed to say thank you for listening. Thank you for listening.
I listened.
Thank you, Catherine. I forget the audio. Thank you, Catherine, for listening.
You're welcome.
And, we'll be around.
Yeah, cool.